I'm Tasha and welcome to my channel. This is my first build I decided to record, but I've recently been getting back into builds and been building for a couple weeks now, so I have a couple more to show you if you like this one. This house was inspired by a house we saw and my daughter challenged me to build it. It's a 3-bedroom, 4-bathroom home with a grand backyard. I can't wait to show you, so let's get to the build. Here you'll see I started in the laundry room and I tried a shelf at first that looked like it was perfect for a mudroom portion of it, but I ended up going with the dream home decorator instead. And you'll see right here I was searching for the book bags or backpacks. I typed everything trying to find it, and you'll see way later in the build that I figured out it was in storage of all places. So I'm still learning where things are at now that I'm getting back into it and buying some of these expansion packs and kits. So I'll get better at it as time goes on, but you'll see I added those book bags on that shelf later on. So here I took down the black shelves and decided to use the shelf that came with laundry day. That way it was already cluttered, didn't have to worry about filling all that extra space in. And then I went in with the white paneling here and a blue tile floor. And you'll see right now it's open, and I'm gonna add a door. It's a frosted sliding door, so I can close that off because I didn't want to use that same flooring for the kitchen area because I knew I was going to take the flooring into the entryway and as well as the dining room. So I just didn't want that flooring to go all the way throughout. So I went with this darker flooring from Eco Lifestyle, and I think it looks great. And I just wanted to pair that with like a clean white wall with, something on it. So I went with this white wall with tile. Now here I was trying to do a double-sided island. So cabinets on one side, island on the other, but they didn't slot together. I tried so many times and I had the space for it, but I just went ahead and went with just the island portion of it, and I think it turned out great. Here I'm adding the cabinets, and I'm going to go over to the other side, and I wanted to give the refrigerator like a built-in look with a little coffee area. Now with the built-in, I always want to make it look like it's built-in because it doesn't fit exactly. So if you guys have found a way to build in your refrigerator and actually make it usable, please give me some tips. Type it below, let me know, and maybe I'll try that in one of my next builds because that is so frustrating. Can never figure that part out. So right here you see that big area. I originally had that saved for dining room, and that was way too big, so I went ahead and split it in half, and I'm going to make that into the dining room for one, and then the office in the back. So coming back into the kitchen, I'm doing a little bit of clutter. Now, I do like to clutter quite a bit because I like my homes to look like they're lived in, but it's never to the point where it's like clutter core. So just enough, and I make sure they have some counter space so they can prepare their meals. But I do like to make the house look lived in, especially with these modern builds where they can just kind of look like empty and cold. So I make sure to do that. So right over here, I love what I did with the microwave. Kind of gave it its own little area similar to like the coffee bar. So I do like that little area over there. Had to move the trash can for it, but that was okay. So here in the main entryway into the kitchen, and it's right next to the dining room, I have this shelf. I don't remember where this is from, but I think it is absolutely gorgeous. I love it, and it fit in that corner so very well. I just added a little bit of clutter to this, added the books to it, make it look like cookbooks, of course, and I think that little bucket is filled with apples, if I'm not mistaken. Now here you'll see I am lighting underneath my cabinets. And I have a trick for that because I don't have the, I think it's Home Shelf Hustle is where that is, where they have cabinets that already have that. So I'm just using the light that lights up the pictures, the little strip light that you can put over your pictures to kind of highlight your pictures. And I add those underneath all the cabinets, and it lights it up, and it looks like there's lights under there. So if you are only using base game, I think that's a great trick, and you can have something that looks just as nice if you're not able to have that pack yet. So here I was trying to figure out what table I like, and I was going to do a double table, and I really like the glass look, but then I like the wood in the glass. And then when I added all the chairs, I really hated the double tables. So I went ahead and just made it a single table. Here I'm trying to find something that will work as a centerpiece. I just did 2 roses and some flowers in the little basket. I think that little basket of flowers comes from, what is it? I think that comes from the Country Kitchen. I think that's where it's from. I'm not sure. But here I wanted like a little sidebar, little table to put in front of the window, and then just some shelving over there that has the lights. Little table in front of there, and trying to find some furniture that'll go good in this dining room. I love the lighting that I put in there. It gives it something that's not too bright, but I think it fits well. So I went in the gallery and tried to grab these pictures, but it didn't quite fit. And then I found these pictures, and they were just absolutely perfect. So I went ahead and did that, and I moved the table over. I thought it looked a lot better over there, and adding the wine above there was what I thought I wanted to do with the lights, but I went ahead and did a picture instead. So we moved to this area. I don't even know what to call this area. It's more like a walkway from the living room into the kitchen. But I love this because I did a bay window, but did a platform there and just did some plants, most cactus and some other plants. And then I actually lowered the floor in front of the platform and added more there, and added a waterfall on each side. I really, really love this area. I think it turned out nice. In a home, I would say it's completely above and beyond luxury to have something like that, but it is so beautiful. I really, really loved it. So we're moving on to the office. Here I wanted to have some grand bookcases, and again I'm going to do a platform underneath the shelving to have it to where you can sit some items on. So that's what I'm building there, and I just put some shelves above there, and my plan is to put like some trophies, to put some trophies on there and some little knickknacks that they may like. So I ended up making it to where he likes trains. You'll see that in a moment. And I put a couple trains back there. So added his desk, added that big grand chair, because I figured this one is for the dad. This is going to be for him. And the idea I have for this family is there's a mom and a dad, and they have 2 daughters. And it's going to be real cool when you see their bedrooms, when you think about that there are 2 daughters, and I'll explain that later. But the mom and the dad, I'd say, are older, maybe in their 50s, and the daughters are around, I say 16 and maybe 13. That's my idea for this home. The dad does something maybe in finance, I would think. That's why he has such a rich home. And then the mom is just like a stay-at-home, loves books, loves plants, and she's just all about the clean, all about the white. So you'll see that pulled in throughout certain things, especially in her bedroom. Her items are keeping with that clean and white. So here I was thinking, comfort little sitting area over in the corner, but still keeping with that grandness of, somebody that has such a luxurious house like this. And I think in some areas it can feel luxury, but in some areas it just feels like just a simple, modern home. And I wanted to do that because I think it's more of the dad that likes the luxury, but the mom is about the simple life. So here we moved into the entryway, and my thoughts were to do this big round table that I can kind of clutter up with some that I can kind of clutter up with plants and maybe a statue, something like that. I really had an idea that was centered around this right here. So taking a vase and adding a plant inside of it is a good way to make, a simple plant look a little bit more better. But I went through all of this, and you'll see I end up scrapping this idea. As soon as I try to put down the light, I realized how tall this really is, because I couldn't find a round table, so I used the island from like the kitchen kit, and it's just way too tall. So you will see me in a little bit change that out when I realize that it's way too tall when I add the lighting. So right now, just adding some art to the walls on both sides, and I'm doing the plant as well. So just kind of having them mirror each other on both sides. And this is where I found out that the table was too big, and I tried to just shrink it down. That also didn't work because everything was floating at that point, because it still thinks that the table was taller. So that did not work as well. So here I am trying to find another round table, and look at how mini that thing is. It's just way too tiny. Like, no, I don't know. Not gonna work for me. So then I tried to put a square table there, and I didn't like the square. I just really, really, really wanted something round. So I kind of scrapped that idea totally, and I went with just putting 2 ottomans on each side and finding a really, really beautiful rug. But I was just over this area. I was just so mad that my plan didn't work out. So I just kept it simple, and I think it turned out good. So over to this little half bath, and I actually forgot about that. I said there were 4 bathrooms. So there are actually 5 bathrooms. I forgot about this little one down here because I play tested it and I had them go in that bathroom, but when I started playing with it, they never ever went back to that bathroom again. So I forgot all about it. But it's just a simple half bath, just a toilet sink. And I kept it pretty simple. And as you can see, it doesn't look very modern like the rest of the house. I just kept that thinking the mom wanted something that just kept them kind of grounded and not so luxury. And I think the same way about this living room. It's such a cozy living room once I get done. So here I was just looking for something for the walls, and this navy blue just really caught my eye. I loved it so much. And I was so surprised when I went to go look for fireplaces. There was a fireplace that had blue, that same navy blue in the back. Like the tile in the back of the fireplace was navy blue. So you don't get that often, finding matching swatches. So I was very happy there. So here I'm trying to find a layout that works for this living room. I thought I wanted to do the love seat and the couch, but it just didn't look right to me. This right here I think looks great. So I went with that, and that rug pulls in that blue from the walls and the brown from the floors. Just chef's kiss. Love it. Absolutely love it. So putting a little sofa table back here, some lighting, a little bit of clutter before I move over into the corner where I'm going to add another seating. Now I had tried both sides at first and decided I didn't want to do that. I just did the one corner and added a lamp in the other. So here, adding some pillows, make it look a little bit more softer. I do love the sofa where you can, kind of build your own sofa. I just wish it looked like more cozy and more soft. It's very modern, very stiff looking to me. So I always add the pillows to it to make it look a little bit more cozy whenever I use it. So here I am putting a shelf over by the bathroom, the half bath, and give it a little bit of clutter. I can't remember. I think I had some trouble with things sliding to it, but of course, using the trick, you can always, get it to fit the right way. So here I'm adding the curtains, and do you see that? You know how it'll bounce and won't connect correctly? If you just take the window away and then make it fit the way you want to, you could just add the window back. So that's a trick that I learned Not sure again. You guys may know this already, but for those who didn't, just move the window out the way, add the curtain where you want it, and put it back. So here I'm adding some arches to this little sunroom that I have over in the corner. I saw it on TikTok. Somebody had did arches like this, so I just wanted to give it a try in this build. I thought it would be really pretty to have, the two arches to walk into this room. And I went through doing all of that just to end up not even using it that way. You'll see later. I end up taking that out because why did I end up changing that? I'm not sure. Once we get to that, I'm pretty sure it'll jog my memory of why I decided to take that out. So in here, I wanted to make it, really, really cozy, somewhere that, they feel like they can hang out. And this was a place for me to add some activities to. So I added the chess table in here. I didn't do that at first. I was trying to actually find a way to do another seating area similar to the living room, but it just didn't work out. I tried so many different ways, so many different pieces of furniture. It just didn't work out. So I ended up leaving it with just the table. I ended up leaving it with just the couch and the little side table, and then I added that chest table in there. I wanted to add some kind of, vase, statue, something. So I found that and I added that. I think it's really beautiful. It fits within the room, and added some lighting in there. I changed out the table next to the couch. I thought it was too short, and the candles were just perfection in there. I love the lighting that it gave. So I'm using these island living curtains. They are beautiful. They're sheer, so it gives, especially for a sunroom, you want to still get all that sun in there. So I wanted to do something like that. And then the floors are beautiful, but I wanted to still add a rug because I figured something like that could be kind of cold underneath your feet, depending on when you're going in there. So I did a rug that complemented it more than covered it. So I did that, added some puzzles and some games under the table, and I finished that up. So, now I remember why I ended up changing that whole area. It was all because of these steps. So I had platforms that went upstairs for the steps, and it looked, I'm not sure where I saw it, it looked like they couldn't get up there, like the steps were way too steep. So I ended up dropping it down, and it ended up making the living room a sunken living room. I was like, well, I kind of like that. So I gave it a step up to the bathroom because it made it to where once I sunk down the living room, it included the sinking down in front of the bathroom, and you would have to do a step up into the bathroom. I didn't want that. So I just added a platform where the bathroom area is and kept the whole living room sunken, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So the steps messing up actually helped out. But you'll see, I went to trying to fix these steps a couple times. It took a while to get it right and figure out what was going on with it. I think I came back to it even after, fixing other things. But we moved upstairs. We are in the hall trying to find, a good color for the hallway, and I ended up going with this gray with the wood on the bottom. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It goes great with the flooring. And there I am going back down to those steps again. So I'm moving into the oldest daughter's room here. She's very pink, very pastel pop kind of girl. But I put her bed up on a platform. I wanted to see if I can do that. I had never done that before. So I wanted to go ahead and add her bed up on a platform. Again, I knew I wanted her to be very pink girly, very pastel colors. And here I am trying to find the right color, right wallpaper. I was trying to do a mixture of paint along with wallpaper, and I picked this, and I don't like it. Didn't like it, ended up changing it. Same with the bed. I believe I changed to a different bed, and I changed where the bed location was because I didn't like that either. This layout right here was so much better because I was able to put like a table next to it. So that worked out so much better. So down here, I wanted to put a dresser. And well, I thought I wanted to put a dresser, but I forgot. I have a whole walk-in closet for her. It's off of the bathroom, that through that door right there. So I ended up not doing a dresser. I was gonna do just her. I was gonna end up just putting her computer down there, and then I wanted to make it behind her look really cool, just in case maybe she wanted to do videos, like be an influencer or something like that, and she needed her background to look really cool behind her desk. So you'll see me doing that in a moment. I went ahead and tried to do a fence there instead of the wall, but the wall just ended up being so much better because you can use the same color as the room, or paint it a different color, whereas if you had the fence, it's just fence color. You're going to do wood or you're going to do metal. So here I am doing some columns and use some curtains to surround the bed, and I love the way that came out. Give it the custom look, because you have some beds that look like that have the canopy on it, but I really like the custom canopy that I was able to create with a couple columns and some curtains. So here I am adding all the cutesy stuff behind her computer, because again, I'm just imagining a webcam on, and she just wants to have that cool, clutter kind of cutesy background. So that's what I am creating there. So use the pegboard from the Comfy Gamer Kit, which I love that. Everything from the Comfy Gamer Kit, which you'll see even right here. This right here, the desk that I originally picked, it just didn't slot the way I wanted it to slot. Where the Comfy Gamer table, that has so many perfect slots. Shout out to Little Simsy for that. That is just some of the best way to get your clutter going on the desk, is to use that desk from Comfy Gamer. So I'm adding some more clutter here. Nothing too major, but I just wanted to kind of give, that perfect look from the back. If she was like using a webcam, is my thought. So off of her room, because it's over that area where I had like the cactuses and the plants, there was a room that was off of her bedroom, so I made it like a little sitting area for her, and I absolutely love this. I just imagine her going in here with her friends and like for sleepovers, and they're just chilling in there. The TV's in there, they have a record player in there. I'm gonna end up putting the canopy lights in there. It's just such a really cool area. I was thinking of my oldest daughter when I built this. She would love something like this. She even said it when she saw it. She was like, this is the kind of room I always wanted. So this is the kind of room I would have loved to give you. So I'm giving it to her on The Sims now. So I was, like I said, really thinking about her when I made this room. And I used a lot of the actual high school years stuff. They have so much cool stuff for creating like a teen room. So I used a lot of that in this design here. But again, keeping with the pastel look, I think it just, I don't know, it turned out really, really nice. I could just imagine her having a ball in this room with her friends. So going back into her room, I think the last thing I added was a mirror before going over into, here's the bathroom. So my thoughts here on the bathroom, I wanted to make the tub look like it was built in. So I just added a little half wall for the tub. And then because it's a shared bathroom, it's a Jack and Jill bathroom, the bedroom to the other daughter is through that door right there on the left. So I added the toilet in kind of like a toilet room. So that's what that door is right there, right by the bathtub. So again, there it is right there. I added the tub and made it seem built in. That way you can have that wall go across the bathtub as well. So I really like doing that trick, and they can still use the bathtub. They just kind of walk through the wall to get in the bathtub, but it still works perfectly fine. So off of this bathroom and through that open door back there is where I'm going to create a closet. What I wanted to do in this build is to really make it like a real home. I mean, closets are totally unnecessary in The Sims, but with the Dream Home Decorator kit, it is so nice to be able to build like custom closets. So you'll see in this one, I was able to build 3 custom closets for this family. One for each of the daughters, and then one, of course, for the parents' room. So here I'm just adding the clutter to the bathroom sinks and decorating behind and around the tub. So I stuck with the black and white theme here, but you'll see later I wanted to make one side for one sister and one side for the other sister, and that's what I was gonna talk about later. One sister, you would go into her room and would not know that it was a girl at all, where of course we just left the oldest sister's room, and she's all about the pink, all about the pastel pop. That is all her, where her sister likes dark colors, red, blue, total gamer type room. You'll see when we get into her room. So if you went in there, you would not know that it's a girl's room, but there's little hints throughout the room that lets you know that yes, that is a girl's room. So I like that. And she was inspired by my other daughter. She has that kind of room, a lot of anime stuff. Favorite colors are like black and red. She keeps it really dark in there. If you were to go in her room, you wouldn't know that it belonged to a girl unless you saw all her stuffed animals. That kind of gives it away a little bit. But I like doing stuff like that where it's the unexpected as far as the design and who could possibly live in that room. So I moved into the closet here, and as you can see, I made a custom closet, definitely keeping with her pinks and pastel look. And now we're moving over to, I think this is the bedroom. Yes, this is the other sister's bedroom. So I learned from the other one, I left the wall down because it was easier to build this closet with the wall down. I can, see what I was doing. So this is a custom closet for the other sister, and totally different. Do you see all the pink in the other one? Well, this one has a lot of dark in it. So I'm going back and forth, stimming a couple things because the clutter for the closets could be pretty similar in all the rooms, just changing up the colors a little bit. Now this one, I did make her kind of a sneakerhead, so you'll see there's a lot of shoes in there. So I really like that. And then using that rug from the Spooky pack, I absolutely love that little rug. I use that in one of my other builds for some businesses, which I can't wait to show you that. I wish I would have recorded the build on that, but I will be showing you a tour of it soon. I'll be getting that out soon. So here, I went through a couple beds and I thought, hey, gamer, let's go ahead and do this gamer bed. But then I found this blue wall and then the little red stripe with it, and it didn't quite go anymore. So here I am looking for beds again, trying to find the perfect swatch for this bedroom. And you'll see in a minute, I find one that is red and blue. So I thought this is absolutely perfect. But as you can see, looking at this room, it doesn't look like it belongs to a girl still. You'll see when I add the shelf in here and start kind of cluttering that up a little bit, there'll be some things in there that you'll see. I kind of try to point those out. Comfy gamer kit coming in clutch again with that shelf, which has so many slots on the top and even on the inside. So I'm adding stuff now, and did I add it yet? Not yet. There's gonna be nail polish, which kind of gives it away, and a makeup kit, which kind of gives it away that this is actually a girl's room. But from first glance, you would probably assume it's a boy's room. So I wanted to do that. Like like I said, I like doing different stuff like that. Even when my girls were little, I have a set of twins. I decorated their room with colors of green and blue because I don't think, girls don't have to be pink and purple all the time. It can be anything they want. They can choose any color they want, any favorite color they want. And it doesn't have to look a certain way. So I like doing my deals that way sometimes. There are a couple end tables here. They were some cute little red ones. They fit perfect with the look of it. And I was looking for some lighting. I ended up finding these big red lights. I thought they worked out perfectly. And then I did something really cool here. At least I thought it was cool. From the Party Essentials kit, I used the streamers as the curtains in this room. And I'll end up adding, another little curtain above to finish off the look that had some blue. But right now I'm doing some clutter on the tables, the end tables, and adding a nice little rug to go along with the piano rug that's in the area to where they would do their gaming at. And I think it was a great combination. So I ended up changing the tables. I'm not sure why I took the red out. Honestly, going back and looking at this now, I really like the red ones. Maybe it was because of slotting. Could be, not sure. But I really liked the red tables, so maybe I'll end up changing them back before I post it to gallery. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. So right here, I was pulling out some clutter, and I realized going through that whole list of CDs, there are actual records. I want records on the wall in the sister's room, so I went ahead and changed that to records in her room and left the CDs in this room. So I ended up cluttering up this wall, giving some posters, and here I am adding the other little curtain above before I go out in the hallway and start doing the curtains in the hallway. So I went back and forth trying to find the perfect little curtain there. I wanted to add a little pop of color instead of just keeping it gray. So I did one that had a little bit of green in it. And then the ones that's down the long hallway, I just added some blinds to it. I love using those little the little Roman shades. I love using those. They slot so perfectly to the windows if you size them down. And then that way it looks like a whole one together. So here I just wanted to keep it simple. Again, if you look at just this table, this little hallway area, it would not look like a super modern house. Again, I was thinking about the mother in this situation. She wanted to keep it, very simple, thinking about maybe some things that her grandmother had in their house or the look that her grandmother had. And she wanted to pull in, some of her plants in here. And I think I might have put some books on here, maybe not. But she definitely had to add her plants out here. Again, she's definitely a plant girly and a book girly. So I went ahead and added that there. Moving on to the main bathroom. This bathroom was really unnecessary because we had so many other bathrooms attached to the actual bedrooms. Only reason I built this one is because I wanted to make this house be more like a realistic house. And of course, realistic house has a main bathroom. So I just made it a smaller bathroom, used the shower and bathtub combination. And it has the tile that matched the walls already connected to the shower. So I went ahead and added that in white and just did a teal floor along with those drop lights in teal. So I kept it really simple, didn't do much decorating in here. I usually add a shelf above my bathrooms, but this was boring. Bathrooms, you gotta admit, most bathrooms are really boring. So this one was really boring. I kept it really simple, and we're moving on to the parents' bedroom. So you may notice here, and I didn't notice it for a little while, there are no windows in here. And I was like, oh my gosh, when I realized that there were no windows. So here I am trying to reconfigure the house to add windows. So that's what you'll see me doing here. I was having a hard time here trying to figure out how to get around this roof. One reason is because I really, and you'll see in the final build once it's done, I really hated this roof line. I really hated the way it looked. It just didn't fit with the rest of the house. And I tried so many ways to figure it out. I'm not the best at roofs, and I'm hoping to get better. But yeah, it was causing me issues with the windows. And then, of course, cutting into the bathroom. But I ended up finding this layout here, which you'll see later, it got changed again. So, went ahead and put these beautiful curtains there. I think they're absolutely gorgeous and keeping with the gray in this room. So mainly gray and brown, which I think turned out really pretty. So I'm cluttering up the dad's side. Now, he has his glasses there. I tend to do that. I always make the dad have the glasses, and then the mom usually has a book or a candle and like their water bottle. They'll always have their phone. So that's what I did there. And I wanted to do like a little seating area right here in front. Now, when I was making this room, I had no idea what I was going to do with it. But what I ended up doing turned out so gorgeous. So I'm getting started here. I knew I wanted a fireplace, and I found this gorgeous mosaic tile. So I'm like, I think I want to pull that throughout the whole back and give this a little shelf moment, same as in the office. So that's what I did. I built the platform out, took that tile all the way up and across the platform, and added some shelves here. And then in the back of that, I added some mirrors and put the TV above the fireplace. I think this area turned out so pretty. Something I would definitely do in another build, but this all came from seeing that mosaic tile. I had no idea that this is where this was going to go, but I think it turned out absolutely gorgeous. And you'll see here, I'm going to do some clutter here. I didn't really know what to put on here, because I was trying not to use the same clutter pieces everywhere, because that could get boring. So I added a few different pieces and was able to not repeat, which was great. Speaking of clutter, I think we're about due for another clutter kit. We need another everyday clutter kit. Maybe call it Everyday Clutter Kit version 2. I don't know, maybe. Yeah, but we definitely need more clutter. But as you can see, I kept with the mom's theme over there. There's lots of books, lots of plants, and over here, this is going to be her area. At first, I was going to do like a dresser there, but I remembered again, there's a walk-in closet. There's no need for the dresser there, and this was a perfect moment to go ahead and give her a little vanity. So I went ahead and put a vanity in there, keeping the same wood tones, which I was surprised with this. I was able to find the same wood tones over and over again, which we all know that does not happen. So I went ahead and added her vanity, cluttering that up with the perfume, some makeup stuff, and then we moved over into the bathroom. Again, messing with these windows because it was going into the bathtub area. I did not want the curtains over in the bathtub area, so I decided to just delete one of the windows and move it over. So now I am finding the tile for the bathroom, and again I'm going with that kind of teal color. I thought that was beautiful with the wood in here, the wood tones in here. And this one has a platform that's built behind the tub, which I'm going to end up, really cluttering that really pretty with some plants and some books. But let me tell you, I had a time with the plant that I chose, and I'll tell you about that when it comes to that. In the shower, there is also a platform, so I made it like a little sitting bench in the shower itself. I thought that was a really nice touch to give it that realistic look. I ended up learning after doing this build that you can add like glass windows over, each other to kind of give it a frosted look. I don't know if the door works if you do that same thing, but that'll be something I'm interested in trying. So here's that plant that I was telling you about. Beautiful, beautiful plant. It's huge though. Like when you do it, you have to shrink it down because it's a very, very huge plant. But I was able to get it to fit in there. It's kind of dropped down into the platform itself, but it doesn't look like it's the way it's sitting. So I ended up adding that there and cluttering with some towels and candle. It turned out absolutely beautiful, but you will see soon why that plant gave me some issues. So right here, I'm changing out the sinks. Again, thinking about the mom, I wanted to keep that, not so modern look. I mean, it's modern, of course, but to give it a touch of that old look to it. So I did that with the lighting and I did that with the sinks. So I think it really turned out nice, and that wood tone, again, with that teal, it's so beautiful, so beautiful. So I'm pulling in some shelves here, again in that same wood tone, and I'm putting like their products here because I didn't, put that out there with her vanity. I just made that all hers, so I needed some place to put his stuff. So that's what I am doing here now. So cluttering up the shelf with, I think I put some nail polish on there, some perfume, and then just did some simple towels on the top. So back over into the tub area, I wanted to add some columns and the spandrels to just make that area look even more elevated, and I think it turned out great. I would love to take a bath in this area. So here I found the perfect curtains. I think it matches this bathroom perfectly. Went ahead and placed those, and the last thing I did was trying this trick to add the little tray over the tub, and you just put a wall there, add the shelf, and then delete the shelf. Then delete the wall, and it works perfectly, even though I realized later the tub was backwards. When I was playtesting it, they just basically sat through the shelf because it was right where they should be sitting. So I realized that was wrong. I ended up flipping the tub around, so it'll be right when it's placed in the gallery. So I moved over into the closet, the walk-in closet for the mom and the dad. And again, I left that wall down because it makes it so much easier to build. And then you can just put the wall back later. So I had a time trying to figure out how I wanted this to go, because I knew I wanted it to be sort of like a wraparound and not just flat against the wall like the daughter's closet was. I wanted this to look a little bit more grand and bigger because it's for two people versus for one person. So I ended up adding corner pieces from the counters, and that fit perfectly in the corner. It kind of almost looked like it fit, it's a little bit wider, but it kind of gave it a really cool design, I think. Let me know what you guys think. I kind of like it, kind of dig it. It's not the same level or anything, but it really, really worked for in here, and the colors were on par again. So that was me sneaking back over to the bathroom. I found that little shelf. I found that little tray that has the coffee cup and the book. Instead of adding a coffee cup and a book the way I had it, it was perfect to just put that on there. So I snuck that over there. So continuing on, I decided to go ahead and do like a darker color in the closet. I think this is the wood paneling from the Book Nook kit. I believe that's what it is, but I just think it looked so great in here. And I added the lighting behind the cabinets just like I did downstairs in the kitchen, and then added those really, really modern lights in there as well, and I just think it turned out great. So here I was just trying to figure out, do I want to do a door? Do I want to do an opening? And I decided I wanted to do an opening and just add some curtains, and that just turned out so nice. And I wanted to add some art to this blank wall here. Wasn't sure what I wanted to put there, but this piece ended up being perfect, and just added one more piece by the door. Then I remembered I needed to add some lighting over in the vanity area, and decided to do two pictures on the wall instead of just the one before moving on to the gaming room. So here is where I had problems with that plant. Do you see it poking through the wall? So I decided to make like, you know, 2 columns over there to try to cover it up a little bit, and it's still poking through. Like, it was driving me insane. So I kind of decided to ignore it at this point, trying to find something to match with that rug. I absolutely love that rug, especially for a gaming room, but I had a hard time at first trying to find the perfect color for the walls, and believe it or not, the exact colors were in there in the swatches, and I was able to add it. So I added these columns, the lighted columns, in the colors of the room as well. I ended up not keeping those in there. I think I only ended up keeping 2 eventually, like those 2 by the door, because I ended up putting string lights instead. So you'll see that later, but right now those lights are in there, and I think they're cool. They could have stayed, but I wanted to do the string lights to give it a brighter. It was just so dark in this room, and it needed to be brighter. So here I'm trying to place like I was saying, I'm trying to add the dartboard, and I think when I tried to add it to that wall over there, I noticed once again that the plant was in the way. So that's why I went back in the bathroom again to try to make that plant smaller and not clip through the wall again. So I ended up putting the dartboard next to the video game, and I wanted to do a little built-in area for the bookshelves. And again, here we are back with these plants. I'm telling you, it was driving me crazy. As you can see, I scrapped it. It just would not stop clipping through the walls, and it was ruining my designs. So I ended up switching to something else. I want to use that plant somewhere someday, but it just wasn't in the cards to use it in that bathroom. So I'm moving over to add a bunch of posters to the wall over here, and that's when I realized I had the gaming room for the one daughter, but never put the game system in there. So I went ahead and snuck back over there and put the little game system on her shelf. So now it's a complete gaming room over there. But back to this gaming room, I wanted to add an area so they can have snacks, and I also added the friendship bracelet kit in here, trying to add some activities in this room. So I think I ended up having the darts, the books, the friendship kit, and in a few minutes you'll see me add the actual gaming table. And when I play tested it, I went ahead and put together a 100-piece puzzle, and that was really cool. So putting up more posters here and wanting to fill that in quite a bit, but making it look uniform at the same time. I can see the parents having, you know, some say in how things were going in here, but it was a majority of the kids who decorated this. So here I'm going to add the gaming table, and again, perfection. The chairs and the table, the chairs match the room, the purple and the green. Here I am adding those string lights, and you'll see by me adding that, it just brought such a brightness to the room. And then I wanted to add the dark curtains in here because I want the room to be dark, but I just wanted to be lit by the lights. I wanted to pretty much stay dark. I'm thinking like cinema type, home theater type, even though it doesn't have that in there. I just wanted to give it that dark vibe. So that's why I went ahead and did that and deleted those other lights. And as you can see right here, to get into this room, it is the secret bookshelf. And I was going to try to hide it with other bookshelves, but it just didn't look right. One thing I hate about that door is that it doesn't poke out like the rest of them. So I just scrapped that idea. If it was, I would have made it look like it was blending in. So here I am. I'm going back to all the rooms. I'm adding light switches, and I also added the hampers because I forgot that, you know, with me adding laundry for the first time, I totally forgot about that part. So I went back, adding the light switches to every room, and added the hampers to every room. So I tried to be as realistic as possible. In places where I felt like it should have been 2, I went ahead and added 2. If it only needed 1, like here's 1 right here, where I would think that there would be 2. There would be 1 to go to the hallway, and then 1 for in the kitchen. I think I go back to that one trying to get that one right. And then added some lighting in the hallway and in that little half bath. You know, gotta make sure, you know, got the lighting everywhere it needs to be. You never want it dark. There was where I found the backpacks, and I added them to the shelf, which you'll see again in the pool area. I changed those to those cute little book bags later. The ones that's kind of open and has all the different designs. So here I am doing the garage. So I just wanted to make it look like a typical garage. This is somewhere that the dad could go and, you know, do his woodworking. I added that in there. I added the bikes in here. Did I add anything else that could be used in here? I don't believe so. So we got the woodworking as activities and the bikes as activities. And I am going to put where I got that garage door I got from the gallery. I'll put the person's name right here or where I got that from. You guys should use that if you want. If you're not, you know, the best at creating the garage doors, there's so many different ways to do it. A lot of people usually just use columns and windows and then use siding to make it look that way. But this is literally just pictures that somebody created in the gallery that looks like a garage door. They are awesome. Just size them down a little bit and they are awesome. So definitely shout out to that creator for creating these wonderful garage doors. Moving outside now, I started upstairs and you notice there's a door right by the top of the steps and it goes to this little patio that is above the main patio area downstairs. And I just put a simple little like a bench up there and a plant. So I kept it really simple. So here I was adding a door back here and I accidentally added a black door. I was like, ooh, I really like how the black looks. So here I am changing all the windows in the back to black. I'll end up changing them in the front as well. And again, this house went through so many visual changes, especially with the roof, but also making it dark, which made it give it that more modern feel. So right here, I'm adding this grill into the metal countertops. I don't use those too much in the kitchen, but I think they work perfect for outdoor. And when you put the grill like that, it is still usable. They're able to play with it just fine. And I know that for a fact because when I tested this, my son decided to catch the thing on fire. Luckily, he put it out because I didn't even like this house being this big. I couldn't even figure out where he was at with the fire. But he had put it out by the time I got down there and I had to replace the grill. So it definitely works. So right here, I am putting the table underneath the lattice that I created. And if you don't know how to create the lattice, I think I'll create a video that shows it, but you can find it anywhere. You can find it on YouTube, you can find it on TikTok, but I'm more than happy to show you how I created that because for this backyard, I did a lot of the pre-work for it. And you're just seeing me decorate it. So a lot of that stuff was created off camera and it was already there. So if you'd like that, I'm more than happy to, you know, do a tutorial on how to do that. It's really simple. So I added some benches outside the little grill area. Now this area, oh, I absolutely love this area. My kids kept saying, I want to go there for real. I'm like, oh, I do too. So it's just a sunken little pit. And I added the custom sofa throughout, and it's gonna be two fire pits. I'm gonna use those two, I think they're coffee tables. Yeah, there they are right there. The coffee tables that have the flames in them. And I just thought that looked absolutely gorgeous. And then in that area right here, I did another platform like I did on the inside of the house and was adding some plants. I had problems with it bouncing back up to the side, and what I ended up doing is just adding a plant there, and then it was able to go where it needed. So that was something I learned. If you put where it's trying to bounce, put something there, then it goes where you want it to. So I'm just adding these room dividers that I shrunk down to be like glass for the plants, and I did that on both sides and found this beautiful rug to go underneath the fire coffee tables. So here I am with these book bags again. I found the cuter ones, and I believe that was me putting them back in there. Maybe not. Nope, that was just the other ones. So I'm not sure when I added the cutesy ones, but you'll see them. I added the cute ones and made it more the girls' personalities. So here I'm adding the floaties to the pool. I made a little area where they can lay out in the sun, and I have a set of chairs off to the side. That is going to change a lot. You'll see, just lighting up the pool right now, but that little area over there, I just really felt it was so empty over there, and I thought, why not do a pool house? So I ended up building a pool house over there and moving all this stuff around a little bit. But back over here in the pool, I did the rocks over here because I wanted to do the medium size water emitters to have the water going into the pool, like doing a water fountain into the pool. I wanted to do like a waterfall, but that is in a pack that I don't have yet. So until I get that one, I was able to do the water emitters, and I think it added such a beautiful feature that I wasn't even upset that I didn't have the waterfall. So here I'm adding some landscaping. I'm doing this in the dark. Well, I was doing it in the dark because I needed to make sure I had enough lighting out there. So here we are on the front of the house, and I'm adding that black that I told you about. Right now there's a roof that I did again, and that's not the final one again. I was just trying to get that roof line to be right with those windows that I added for the parents' room and that bathroom. But you'll see what I end up doing here, and I find a much better roof. I think it's a metal roof. Yeah, it's a sheet metal roof, but it looks black. Where this right here, it says it's black, but it looks brown to me. I ended up finding one that was completely black, and it turned out so beautiful. And I believe you'll see that in a moment. So adding a back door to the garage there, and fixing the windows there. This is just a little bit of cleanup here. But there it is. See how much better that roof looks? Oh, I think it looked so much better. I was so happy when I did that. So the rest of this is just a little bit more cleanup, adding some more of that black, and you will see that again, that roof line has changed, and that's not even the final one. But you'll also notice that the pool house was not built on camera, and you will see that during the tour. So I hope you like the build, and give me a like and subscribe and enjoy the tour. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.